Hi there, and welcome to this week's episode of the Accepted Authority podcast. I'm your host, Greg Roworth, and in this podcast, we talk about issues and challenges in growing your consultancy firm and the specific strategy that I recommend and have used to great success in my own businesses has been to position myself as the accepted authority in the market. And that's my recommendation to you, and what we often talk about on this podcast, in how to overcome the growth challenges, some of the marketing issues, some of the client acquisition challenges you may have by positioning yourself as the authority in the market. Now, this week I want to focus on the place of LinkedIn in positioning yourself as the authority. And being topical this week, the fact that LinkedIn have introduced AI into their content creation process. So what that has done has opened up, I think, a can of worms, because potentially what AI can do is assist people to create more content. And on the surface, that sounds like a good thing. From LinkedIn's point of view, having more content on their platform keeps people engaged on LinkedIn more. And that's obviously their aim. Like it is with any social networking platform, their aim is to keep people engaged so that they stay on the platform for longer. And with LinkedIn, their aim is to have people creating more content, so there's more potential for engagement on LinkedIn. Now, it's really surprising with the number of people, and particularly the number of professionals and number of consultants that have a profile on LinkedIn, that there's only a tiny fraction of a percentage of people who create content and post content on LinkedIn. There are a number of people who share people's content, a number of people who like other people's content, and other people who repost other people's content, but very few people actually create content of their own so that they can be seen as a thought leader, seen as an authority in the market. And over the years, I've demonstrated, proved, not quite sure the right word to say it, but I've benefited from the fact that I'm a content creator. Yes, I have a couple of books in the market. They sell and they promote me, but I'm not recommending to anyone they go out tomorrow and write a book. But if you look before that book creation process, people need to see you as an authority in the market so that they can trust you and be attracted to you, to engage in you and potentially ask you to help them with your services. But content is the way that you profile yourself. Content is the way that you get away from promotional selling, from self-promotion, from assertions and claims that typically create skepticism and resistance in your target market. And we see so much of that, and maybe you're guilty of that, and no judgment here. I've been there, done that, until I learnt a better way. But where we are promoting ourselves and putting even content on platforms like LinkedIn that are self-promotional, LinkedIn doesn't really care. They don't mind what content you place within certain parameters. As long as there's content that is there for people to read, they're happy for you to be promoting content. But that doesn't really help you. What does help you is that thought leadership type content done in a certain way. And I see it done very badly in a lot of cases. And, there's so much of the helpful tips, the how to do it type posts that give people information but don't really create any incentive to get on a process of contacting you to get your help. So there's a certain type of content that will do that, and we've talked about that recently in a couple of previous episodes. So go back and check out those episodes to learn about what style content creates attraction and engagement. But coming back to LinkedIn and their use of AI, what that will encourage is more people to use the tool to create content, because they're looking at how to make content creation easier. So if you do that and use AI as the content creator, if you ask the AI tool to, or you start working there to have the AI create your content, then what you're going to end up with, and what we'll see, from LinkedIn, and as we are in a proliferation of other content on other platforms, is basically the same thoughts and same ideas regurgitated over and over again. And while that may help you be seen, it may help you have content on the platform, it won't help you get engagement and attraction from your target market, because the bland, generic information, that really is all that AI can come up with. Just think about it logically. AI gets the information from all of the distributed information that is on the internet. It will go out and search for relevant pieces of information related to the topic that you're asking it to come up with, but it's content that is already out there. It's content that is not unique, is not original, and it is there. If people did a search, they would find that information. So information that is not unique and not original does not get attraction, unless someone's been hiding under a rock for a number of years and they finally emerge and they open up your LinkedIn profile and see some content that they haven't seen before. But generally, those people are few and far between. People are informed these days, and particularly your clients are better informed than they ever have been about the types of services, the types of solutions that are in the market to solve their particular problems. So what you need to do is use AI. If you're going to use AI, use it very intelligently. The way I use AI is to come up with my own ideas for content and create the content, but then ask the AI platforms if they can improve on it. Can they say it in a better way? Can they have an alternative idea or a thought around what I'm already wanting to say? And that may be helpful to improve your content, to particularly if you're not a great writer or not a great speaker, you may be able to improve the language and improve the grammar, improve the spelling. Those things are helpful. So I'm not saying don't use AI, but use AI intelligently. Don't be thinking that AI is the be-all and end-all. It's the prayer or the answer to your prayers in how to create content, because it's not. It won't give you credibility. It won't give you authority unless you already are an authority. It won't do what you can't do yourself. It can enhance what you can do yourself, but it can't do what you need to be able to do to create authority, to create engagement, to create attraction from your content. So let's look at LinkedIn as a platform to create engagement. And one of the challenges that we already have alluded to is people don't create content because it's hard. It's a challenging prospect to create content on a regular basis. So how do we overcome that challenge and be able to create valuable content that creates engagement and attraction on LinkedIn? Because there's no doubt that thought leaders, that authorities in the market, across the board in a number of different areas, use LinkedIn content to create their authority. So obviously there's an incentive and a motivation for you to look at how to create content on LinkedIn and how to do it regularly. But then how do you overcome that hurdle of it's time consuming and it's difficult, and to be creative and come up with content all the time is a very challenging thing to do. So again, it's about being strategic about creating content and not having to reinvent the wheel all the time. Now, I'm sure that in your work that you do with clients, and even in the sales interactions you have with clients, there are lots of ideas or lots of concepts that you'll be talking about with clients or communicating in some way with your potential clients or existing clients about the challenges that they have and how you would solve those challenges. All of those things are content ideas and topics. So if you're able to capture those ideas and create a list of them, then coming up with ideas for content becomes very simple. You don't have to look very far across a course of a week to probably come up with 5 topics that you've talked about with people, or you've heard, like I'm doing today, heard from someone else's content about LinkedIn and AI, and that being a bit of news that is relevant to what I do. So there are numerous ways to create your content topics. What I recommend, though, is not to start out every day and think, well, what will I talk about today? Yeah, great. Go back to that list and pick a topic and talk or write and create a piece of content. That is what makes the process very cumbersome and probably overwhelming for most people if they have to think about coming up with a piece of content every day to post on LinkedIn. And when I say every day, it's not necessary to post on LinkedIn every day, but it's ideal if you can. But being consistent about how often you post on LinkedIn during the week is more important than how many times you actually do it. But the more you can do it, then obviously the more that your content is there and the more often you can be seen. So ideally, a piece of content every day is what you want to have on LinkedIn, but don't start out the day or sometime through the day thinking, wow, yeah, I haven't produced my content for LinkedIn yet. I better get around to that. When can I fit that in? That is going to create the overwhelm that a lot of people probably feel by approaching it that way. My recommendation is to batch your content, to create a whole lot of content in one sitting, to come back to a core idea. And the way that I create content is really now from 2 sources. One of those is from video content that I created 3 years ago. And I'm able to repurpose that, reuse that content. I have my books where I can draw content from as well. But I also have the list of topical ideas that I'm thinking about, talking about with my clients that I can go back to and on a weekly basis create 5 pieces of content or 10 pieces of content and have that stored ready for posting when it's timely. So that's really all I wanted to cover today in how you can use LinkedIn to be seen as the authority in your market and to be accepted as the authority because you have content that is unique and original, and where you can use AI to improve on that content, where you can use AI to enhance your existing already created thought leadership ideas and content ideas. So to wrap it up here, don't think AI is going to be the answer to your prayers in terms of content creation. Use it as a tool. Use it intelligently to enhance your ideas, to improve what your content creation that you're already coming up with. Make it better, make it more appealing, make it more grammatically correct, but don't rely on it to come up with the ideas, to come up with the content, because if that's what you're doing, you're going to fall flat and you won't achieve your goals. Be the authority, create your content, and use AI intelligently to have amazing posts on LinkedIn that create attention, create attraction, and create engagement with your ideal clients. So that's it for our podcast today. I'm Greg Roworth. If you want to know more or get in touch with me, you can do that in a number of ways. Look me up on LinkedIn or Facebook. Just do a search for Greg Roworth on either of those platforms and you'll find me. Or alternatively, go to my website at businessflightpath.com, where there's a lot of content available for you to access for free or inexpensively, and start to engage more in what I'm saying, what I'm doing, and learn more about how to be the accepted authority. And when you do that, you'll find a way to be in touch with me if you want to talk to me from there. So go out, be the authority, create the content that really enhances your authority, use AI intelligently to enable that. And I look forward to seeing great content from you. Let me know how you go with that. Give me the feedback about the content you've created, or point me to some content that you've created, and I'll happily give you some comments or feedback about that as well. So that's it for our podcast today. Greg Roworth out.